Welcome to Worldbuilding Notes. In this episode, warm and humid. Every culture, over generations of inhabiting a certain particular area, figures out what makes for the most comfortable dwelling there. The people inhabiting my imaginary river basin have to deal with a humid subtropical climate, featuring warm summers and mild winters. And I know warm and humid summers. They feel like you are trapped in a sauna with no escape. There are ways to make it all more bearable, though. Firstly, wood is a friend. It's a great material for building in a warm and humid climate, since it has a low heat storage capacity, and in this climate it's important to store as little heat as possible. The house should not be heating up throughout the day, and it most definitely should not be releasing that heat when people are trying to sleep. Besides, my river basin does have winters, even if mild ones, and a wooden house will provide some insulation during the colder months. Secondly, the sun is the enemy. The house needs to be protected from solar radiation by a nice big roof, or else the air indoors will become hotter than outdoors. Here's a SketchUp model of the house design I'm going with for the peasant homes. A one-story structure can be protected from the sun for most of the day by the roof overhangs, and the house is elongated along the east-west axis, because while a roof can protect the house from the midday sun, it can't protect it from the rising or setting sun, so it's best to minimize wall exposure to east and west. The houses inhabited by the aristocracy have a very similar design, but are much larger, and also they have these extra walls on both ends, which shield the house from the sun in the morning and in the evening. Trees with wide canopies can also help to shield homes from the sun and to create pleasant outdoor spaces. And thirdly, the wind is the greatest friend in this climate. Without access to modern-day technology, the wind can be used to ventilate homes and whip the inhabitants' sweat away with a nice cool breeze. So prevailing winds need to be taken into account. Since houses don't need to be cooled when it's already cold, for me it's all about the summer winds of my basin, which come in from the southeast. It's the most ideal to have the elongated side of the house facing the wind. The amount of sunlight hitting the house had to be minimized, but the amount of wind hitting the house needs to be maximized. This is how the house needs to be placed to minimize sun exposure, and this is how it needs to be placed to maximize wind exposure. With a low structure that has a nice big hat, I can afford to aim for more wind. The house shape I went for sits raised above the ground, since this allows the air to freely pass underneath the house. For peasant houses, I've split the structure below the roof into two, to let the wind pass through between the living space and the kitchen. This passage could be closed during the winter months using detachable panels. Having a summer kitchen or just cooking under the open sky are other options, but when the kitchen and the space where the inhabitants will sleep are under the same roof, the kitchen is placed on the western side. The eastern side of the house heats up in the morning, but by the time sunset arrives, it has cooled down and become the more comfortable part of the house to sleep in. For good ventilation, it's important to have large windows that allow the air to freely pass through the house, and it's important to be able to keep them open and the air passing through the house during rainy days as well. Louvers allow to keep the rain out without blocking airflow, and shutting the windows during the warm and humid summer nights would not do either, so the inhabitants have to sleep under mosquito nets. The roof of the house will inevitably be hit by lots of sun radiation and heat up, so it's important to have a ceiling and a well-ventilated attic space, with the wind taking the heated-up attic air outdoors. And wind-related considerations apply to settlements as a whole. They are also elongated along the east-west axis and oriented to be hit by as much of the prevailing wind as possible, and the individual houses have enough space between them to allow the air to freely pass through. The aristocratic families live in building compounds, with the main house at the center and the outbuildings at a comfortable distance away from the main house. With all this, the summers will still be warm and humid, but at least no one will boil alive inside their own house.